Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem, creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. It is now September 2025. That's 5.5 years of Torah every single day, finding each other from every corner of the world so we can learn together. We can say good morning to each other, one person at a time. You can face the world as it is, dreaming and acting so that we can make sure to help it be a little bit closer to the way it could be. Good morning, Natalie. It's good to see you. Linda, Boker Tov. Kathy, welcome. It's good to see you too. Let's see who else is here. We'll say good morning to each other, start with a bracha, learn some Torah, and then we'll start our day well together. Arlene and Deborah, Joyce, Boker Tov, Lisa, it's good to see you too. Hi, Sandy. Hope that you're doing okay. Natalie, Boker Tov, my friend. Hi, Deborah. Okay. Debbie, it's good to see you too. And Debbie. That's a lot of Deborahs and Debbies, one in a row. Amy, good to see you too. Let's take a breath, everyone. We'll sing a bracha. We'll learn some Torah. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ay la la la, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam Asher Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav v'tzivanu La'asok b'divrei Torah La'asok b'divrei Torah Hafoch ba v'hafoch ba La'asok b'divrei Torah Today I lie Today I lie Today I lie I lie. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. I am sure that your hearts are just like mine, broken with news of a shooting at the remote junction in Jerusalem, where at least 6 people have been killed. The shooters were 2 terrorists from the West Bank. They've been stopped, one by a security guard and one by a civilian. It shouldn't need to be said, but the civilian was a Haredi man who protected his fellow Israeli citizens. That is important to say. Our hearts are broken. It is too much. That, in addition to it being day 703 since October 7th, yes, it's broadcast 1,384. But I know that when I say Libi b'Mizrach, my heart is in the east. You join me. So before we do anything, including learning a little bit of Torah for today, please, friends, send your hearts. Send your hearts to those grieving yet again in Jerusalem. Their strength, their love, the power of their presence, including a mission of UJA representatives and leaders from Westchester that are there on the ground today. Thank God all of them are safe. We got a report from them early this morning. Our hearts are with them. When we sing Hatikva at the end of today's broadcast, I hope that you will add a special, deeper dimension for those who are specifically affected by today's violence. Now, we are in Parshat Ki Tavo. Ki Tavo continues the story in Deuteronomy that Moses is saying to his students, the second desert generation, about what they need to do to make things work once they reach the promised land. Last week, it was Ki Tetzei, when you go to war, because that's part of it. Unfortunately, it's part of it. Ki Tavo is when you arrive. Ki Tetzei is when you go out. So imagine one day we will have arrived, not only, friends, to arrive in the promised land, the third Jewish commonwealth, the modern state of Israel. But when we arrive, when we no longer have news like this morning's or the last 703 days, praying so hard today for our 48 beloveds. What is Tavo included? It has many details of what happens when we will enter the land. The first thing that it says, be a little bit jarring because it's pleasant. How strange it is that something pleasant could be jarring. When we finally are able to plant our own fields and harvest our own fruits, we're supposed to bring those first fruits called bikurim to the temple in Jerusalem, where we recite a story, the story of our people. You might remember it because at Seder, we traditionally say it, Arami Oved Avi. My ancestor was a wandering Aramaean. And I've done some learning in the last little while about the power of stories. I'm about to begin teaching a class for rabbinical students on Agadata, on stories, and how important stories are for our sense of who we are and what we do. And there's actually a really interesting dimension to this, which is that when stories are told, you could tell them in countless ways. Two archetypal ways are the collective and the individual. When we say about big things, hard things, this is a week where we will be commemorating 9/11, so long ago and yet yesterday. We talk about the total number and the world changed. That has one impact. But if I tell you about my friend, Andrew Zucker, who is in Tower 2, it changes because it's about an individual. And so here again, the story that we tell when we bring our first fruits, we say, Arami Oved Avi. My ancestor, or my father, literally translated, was a wandering Aramaean. I'm suddenly talking about one individual and not a group. And what's the difference? The emotional intensity. I'm speaking about one person. In this case, it's likely Avraham, whose name was Avram at the time. It could be Sarai, whose name became Sarah. And that origin story has an emotional resonance which makes me feel, according to many studies, makes me feel a fraction of the story, as if it's happening to me. And of course it is happening to me. And so in light of this deep wisdom of what a story means, and that when we enter the land, we're told to call out the story, to tell the story as we bear our fruits. It's meant to bring us into the story because it's in us. Well, I want to mention 3 individuals today. One, Rabbi Mordechai Steinzag. He was 79. He was on the bus today. He was a rabbi, but he was a practicing cardiologist, and he had a very well-known bakery in Beit Shemesh, which was called Dr. Mark's Bakery. Rabbi Mordechai Steinzag was murdered this morning. His story is our story now. It always was, and now it's our job to tell it. Sarah Mendelson was 60. She was a leader of the Bnei Akiva movement who was on her way to the office to do work to help mobilize young Jewish Israelis, to help build society. Sarah Mendelson was murdered this morning. Her story is our story, and it always was, and now we're going to tell it. And there is a cab driver whose name I don't know, but this was captured on dash cam footage. You can find it on social media. Many people have shared it. When the shooting happened, it was in heavy traffic, and there was a bus on this side of a cab. And you can see everyone running. And then the cab driver gets out, and you would imagine he would run, join this crowd. What did he do instead? He walked carefully around his cab, because he had a passenger, an elderly woman. And he opened the back door of his cab carefully, and while he was opening it, the glass right above his head in the bus was shot out, just one step away from him. And he calmly helped this woman out of the cab. And he brought her to safety. That also happened this morning. Under fire, a cab driver saved an older person's life. That's also a story that's in us. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory tells in a comment on this week's Parsha about two different kinds of societies. One is a traditional society, and one is a covenantal society. A traditional society, he teaches, is a society that doesn't explain who it is because people just know. The assumption is you just know. A covenantal society is a society where you tell the stories so that you and others will know. I hope that we will tell these stories, not because they're happy, but because they're in us. Rabbi Mordechai Steinsack, he was a real person who did real things in the real world. Sarah Mendelson was a real person in the real world. And that cab driver is a mensch, who is the fulfillment of the teaching back in the Mishnah, B'makom she'en anashim hishtadel liot ish, in a place where people are not acting like human beings. Act like a human being, be human. These are the stories that shape us. And in Tavo, we are told that it's our obligation to tell those stories. So I bless us. I bless us in this moment with so much tumult everywhere around us to never forget the sacred stories that are in us, that we are, and to make sure that we tell our story. We are a traditional society, but not in that way. We should make sure to never become a traditional society in that way, where we assume that we and our children and our neighbors know the story. No, we must be a covenantal society, just as Tavo teaches us. Even when we reach the promised land and we are no longer in the desert, which is 2 steps away from having been in Egypt, which is at least 3 steps away from being wanderers like our ancient ancestors, wandering Arameans. It has been thousands of years, and what we are through and through is our stories. Our stories remind us who we are, where we've come from, and the trajectory that we have been on. We are that cab driver, and we are that older person who was in the cab. We are Rabbi Mordechai Steinsack, Zichrono Livracha. We are Sarah Mendelson, Zichrona Livracha. We contain multitudes, friends. Our stories are the way that we keep all of this alive. May we tell them with passion, even when we reach a place of promise. Please, God, may that be soon. May our 48 beloveds be in our arms. That has to be the next chapter of this story, that we got to take care of them, and we continued the trajectory of their stories too. Take a breath. Send your heart to the east, especially Jerusalem today, and especially with our beloveds. Kolon balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvatenu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, my friends.